Welcome back for part 2 of this whole house clean and declutter with me, and today we really are tackling what feels like the whole house. There were things in every room, the dining room, the playroom, the kitchen, the living room, my girls' rooms, that were just calling for my attention, mess, clutter, piled up everywhere on every surface, and I just needed to get it gone, get it handled and out of the house where necessary. So we're going to be doing a ton of cleaning up and tidying today, and also quite a bit of decluttering and removing things from the home. But as always, I'm starting with an overview of what we are working with and then feeling overwhelmed by that. So I was actually feeling like I didn't even know where to begin because things were so messy, and whenever that happens to me, I always like to identify a domino chore, and today that felt like the laundry that was just looming in the background, calling my name. I swear I had at least 8 loads of laundry piled on every seat and surface in my home, and it had been accumulating because this is the week and weekend that we had our community yard sale, so that was taking priority, which has also contributed to a lot of the clutter and mess out in the main living spaces. And so these secondary tasks, or what I feel like are secondary tasks, had kind of been neglected. So today is the day to prioritize those and get them all done. And I feel like laundry is always a really good domino chore. It's similar to making your bed when you're cleaning up your bedroom. Once you start knocking that out and getting that laundry folded and put away, there's that sense of like instant gratification because there was a pile and now there's not, and there was a mess and now it's all cleaned up and tidied, and it takes typically 10 minutes or less to get that done. So you get that little hit of dopamine, that instant gratification, and I use that to fuel my motivation to keep checking off more tasks and getting more areas of my home cleaned and tidied up like that. So I just wanted to share that in case you are also feeling overwhelmed by your mess or your to-do list and you feel so overwhelmed that you don't even know where to start. Maybe try identifying a domino chore and starting there. Another helpful tip, or at least something that I have found helpful when I'm struggling with a lot of clutter, a lot of mess, and feeling like my home maintenance is just overwhelming me, is finding other people on social media, be that YouTube or Instagram or even TikTok, that feel like they're in the same boat, like it's not a struggle alone, but that I've got a little community that I can kind of build around myself that has a ton of tips and tricks and motivation to share. And that sense of community and camaraderie often pushes me through those like really tough times where I feel like I'd rather just bed rot than actually get things done. And recently I have found a friend on TikTok. Her name is Alex, and she is openly sharing about her struggle with overwhelming clutter in her home related to a shopping addiction. And she has this slogan that says, "You don't have to do it all, but you do have to do something." And I find that so helpful. When I feel like I've got a list a mile long, just acknowledging that it does not all have to get done in one day. You can take it in bite-sized pieces, little bits at a time. And she actually sets typically a 15-minute timer in her videos, and she will just declutter one specific area or even just one box sometimes for 15 minutes, and that allows her to manage the overwhelm a lot more. And she has made so much progress decluttering through her home, and she says that she's working towards minimalism, which I think is definitely admirable. But she's just so beautifully vulnerable on TikTok and in her voiceover. She voiceovers all of her content. Like, she doesn't just play music or do time lapses. She talks. She's very personable. You just feel like you're hanging out with a friend, and she's got just the right amount of motivation without coming across as too pushy or a know-it-all, or you know the type that you can find on TikTok or on any kind of social media. She's just the perfect opposite. I have fallen in love with her content so much and found it incredibly helpful. So I'm going to link her TikTok account for anyone who needs those shorter bursts of motivation. Definitely go back and binge some of her content and catch up on her journey, because if you are ever struggling to find that like self-starting self-motivation, just watching one or two of her videos, I promise will get you up and starting your 15-minute task. So like I said, I'll leave her TikTok linked down in my description box, and I would say that you should absolutely add her to your social community and the support system that you need if you too are feeling overwhelmed by the clutter and mess within your home. Okay, so I know it feels like I'm kind of ping-ponging back and forth here, and this cleaning feels a little chaotic, and honestly, that's just because it was. Sometimes that's what real life looks like, and so I decided not to curate this too much and just be as realistic as possible with you guys. And so here I had realized that I forgot to switch the laundry from the washer to the dryer when I pulled Sawyer's clothes out, so now I'm circling back around to make sure that I get that done. And then I realized it's gonna take me like all of 5 minutes to get this kitchen table cleaned off. So while I'm standing in this area, I might as well do that. There were a few things that needed to be put back in the rooms that they belonged in, but mostly there were just like drinks that were needing to be dumped out and trash that was needing to be thrown away. And I had like a little Dollar Tree haul that I needed to restock some candy and then put toothpaste and mouthwash in the bathrooms. And then I'm circling back to the drinks, and that's just how my mind works sometimes. So that's what I'm sharing here today, and I hope that some of you can appreciate that. I've considered before if maybe it's ADHD or if this is pretty neurotypical and everybody experiences this. It's hard to tell. I'm not diagnosed as having ADHD, and I am honestly not quite sure if I even would qualify for it. I know that almost all of my blood-related siblings are diagnosed with ADHD. Derek is also diagnosed with ADHD. Derek's my husband, for anyone who is new here. And we have considered the diagnosis for our youngest daughter, Sawyer, as well. So it's a possibility. It's hereditary. There's like a genetic component to it. So maybe that's why I do this. But either way, sometimes it gets in my way and I procrastinate, and then other times it serves me well. And before you know it, I've got an entire kitchen cleaned like I do here. But this was a nice little break from the laundry, but now I do have to circle back to that as well. I had folded the load of darks that was here in the playroom, but now I had a load of whites or lights. And I've also talked about this on my channel before, but I have always separated my laundry since I started doing it. I separate out towels, lights, darks, and reds or colors. And then also I wash bedding separately. And I have just always done it that way. I had to teach myself how to do laundry when I was an adult. And so I think I might have read this in like a blog post or something when I was researching how best to ensure longevity and the quality of my clothes when washing them. And that sounds so crazy that like I was an adult before I knew how to do laundry, but it's actually a skill that my mom didn't teach me when I was growing up. She would not let me use any of her appliances. Like I wasn't allowed to use the stovetop, the oven, the washer and dryer, and for years I was not allowed to even look at the microwave. So it's something that I just kind of had to figure out. I had like a basic foundational knowledge, but I really had to hone in on my routine, and this is just what became my routine. But I know everyone does it different, so you'll have to tell me, do you separate your clothes like this? Do you use specific products that make it so that you don't have to separate your clothes? I know the last time I talked about this, I got quite a few comments saying that people use something called color catchers to prevent bleeding, which I didn't even know existed, but apparently they do. Per usual, this is taking longer than expected. I still have a lot to go here in the playroom. There's just stuff everywhere. The girls have been playing hard and crafting even harder this summer break, which I love to see, but It does get exhausting when we do a big clean like this, but I am happy that all of that laundry is folded. The kitchen table is cleaned off, the kitchen counters are all clean, and Sawyer has been keeping her room pretty clean since I came in here and kind of reset it for her the other day. She made her bed this morning. She does have Teddy out. That's this little baby that she was playing with earlier, and she's got Cleo's room still set up because she and Kinsley have been playing with their dolls a lot, but otherwise, she's keeping this very, very clean, and I'm so proud of her for that. She actually has a friend coming over in about 20 minutes, and I was really hoping to get this all cleaned up before their play date, but I think I might actually have to do this while they are playing because I still have to finish up in here, and I feel like this takes priority because it's probably where they will spend the most time. So cue the speed cleaning montage to get this coffee table all sorted out. I know that this is not the coffee table, but I realized that Sawyer had a little pile of stuff over here by the end of the couch, so I figured I'll start my trash bag here and then also start my piles because there was a lot that needed to go back to Sawyer's room, and creating piles of things helps me so much when cleaning a big mess to clean as efficiently as possible so it takes less time and I don't get burnt out as quickly. And what I mean by that is, like, you can see it on the couch there. There's just a pile of things that are out of place. All of those things belong in Sawyer's room. And then I've got a pile started on the coffee table of all of these crafts that need to go into the craft drawer or cabinet here in the playroom. And then I've got a pile of trash, which I'm putting into a little trash bag. But I often clean this way by sorting things into piles and then kind of tackling them one pile at a time, putting them away where they belong or as they belong. And that helps so much to cut out the running back and forth in between rooms and feeling like I'm making no progress because I'm wasting so much time just walking back and forth for one thing or a handful of things. And so this way I can kind of see and like mentally create a checklist of everything that's still needing to be done, and I just wait until the end. So I'll put everything away in the playroom, and then at the end I'll be left with more trash that needs to be thrown out and a pile of things to take into Sawyer's room, and so I'll take it there and then it's all done instead of wasting my time running back and forth. Okay, Sawyer's friend is here. We just all had lunch, and now it's time for me to tackle this mess in the living room. A lot of this is just leftover things that didn't sell at our yard sale that we're going to donate to the thrift store, but then there are these things here that I sold on a local Facebook marketplace group. So I'm just gonna get that together to put out on the porch for a porch pickup and then start getting everything else kind of in order so that Derek can drop it off at the thrift store for me. So I just wanted to separate out everything that I had sold in that Facebook marketplace kind of group and put it next to the front door so that it didn't accidentally get mixed in with everything else. And then I'm going to start creating more piles, or really condensing everything into one semi-organized pile. I had this huge box of things that we were definitely just donating to Goodwill. I didn't want to take the time to sort through it all. But then I also thought maybe I should take Kinsley and Sawyer's leftover clothes and toys to Plato's Closet and Once Upon a Child and just see if they would take anything before donating the rest. And I am so glad that I did. It was definitely worth the trip this time, maybe just because of how much we had, but they took quite a bit, and between the two stores I ended up making another like $65-ish, which definitely felt worth it to me. I know those kinds of resale thrift stores are not always worth the time and gas it takes to even drive to them, but we do have both of them semi close-ish to us, and so when I have a large volume of things like this, I do find that it is typically worth it. The really high sellers I think that they have are not just like good condition clothes. Those always sell pretty well, although you literally get like pennies for them, but we had a lot of shoes in here, some toys in brand new condition that Once Upon a Child took. And then Kinsley had some like wallets and things like that were getting donated, and some brand name clothes. And so between all of those things, those are really the money makers. It's less the clothes and more the accessories and extras that you have, and especially shoes. They always pay, I feel like, way more for shoes than they do for anything else. So that's what made the trip worth it for me. And then I decided anything that was still in really good condition that they passed on for whatever reason, I took all of those to our local women and children's shelter, and all of Sawyer's stuffed animals that they passed on. I had no idea, but Once Upon a Child does not take plush toys unless they are brand new with the tag still on them, which is mind-blowing to me, because who is going out and buying stuffed animals to never gift them, use them, display them, keep the tag on, and then just take them to Once Upon a Child? Maybe that rule is in place just to deter people from bringing them in, because I'm sure there are a lot of people that declutter a lot of stuffed animals like we do. But I was able to donate then all of those stuffies to the local women and children's shelter, and I know the kids are always so thankful for that, and they were all very clean and brand new condition because Sawyer cares for them so well. I wanted to show you guys this game we actually found from a neighbor's yard sale. It's called Disney Edition Color Brain. Since it says Disney Edition, I'm sure that means there are other types or like a standard version of this game, but it has been so fun. We are a Disney family. We are fanatics, and so it's so fun to play. We also really love our Disney trivia game that a friend of mine gifted to me, I think maybe it was last Christmas actually. We love that as well. Disney versions of nearly any game are always our favorite, so we were so pumped to find that at a yard sale, and it had all of its cards and all of its pieces. But it's so much fun that even if you see like a standard version or one that's specific to a cartoon or anything, an IP that you personally like, I would highly recommend picking it up because it is a blast. We're a Disney family and a board game family, and so anytime that I find one that we really like, I always like to pass it along. It's just a fun, easy way to spend quality time with your family and play with your kids. If you are someone who struggles to play like on the floor, pretend play, I am one of those people. I feel like I didn't spend a whole lot of time really playing as a kid. I never learned some of those skills. Like I had a lot of Barbies, but I didn't play pretend scenarios with them. I'd really just like set them up and that would be it, or organize them. And that was my version of playing, or organize my room. And beyond that, I was just kind of a chronic reader. I was a bookworm, and so I didn't spend a whole lot of time doing other things. So I never learned those skills. So now it's a struggle for me to try to play with my kids, but playing board games is always easy and a win in our family, and that one is a great one. So now that I have rambled for like 2 minutes about nothingness, let me circle back and say it's called Color Brain, and if you see it, you should get it. This is always such a good feeling. I love when this space goes from like so overcrowded to nearly completely cleaned out. I mean, I do have a pile of things that are waiting on somebody to pick them up that I sold on a local yard sale group. This is waiting for me to install it. And we do have this bench over here that will be part of an updated living room makeover that I'm hoping to get done within the next month. So there's not really anywhere to put it right now, but otherwise this just looks so good. And the rest of the house to match, we have a cleaned out dining space, kitchen, and the playroom, which the girls are so appreciative of. And I have been working my little booty off to get this house clean like this. But now I'm gonna make myself an iced tea and relax for a minute, enjoying the calm, clean space before it becomes chaotic again. But anyway, that's going to wrap up today's video. So I hope that you all enjoyed. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Thanks so much for choosing to spend your time here with me. And I hope that I see you all in the next one. Bye.